Well, this is one topic I didn't really think I'd be covering, but I am covering, so we'll get into it. The whole Diddy sex trial, freak off trial, whatever you want to call it. But I have some thoughts, so let's get into it. So, as everybody knows, if you don't know, then good for you, because you've probably been offline, living under a rock, out in the woods, whatever. But Diddy, aka Puffy, aka P Diddy, aka Puff Daddy, aka Sean Combs, aka all the other nicknames, baby oil user that he has for himself. About a year ago, was raided by the feds, his house in Miami, and then it turned out that he was being investigated and I think arrested for I think it was sexual assault, sex trafficking, and a few other things. I can't remember at all. Then all these stories started coming out about how he was behind the scenes, some of the real hideous things and horrendous things that he did. Um, Now he's on trial for, I think some of it, I don't think all of it, but I think a little bit of it. Of course, this whole thing, when it first broke, everybody was saying Hollywood was going to be nervous because of all the different parties that P. Diddy threw. He always had his infamous white party where everybody would wear white. He'd show up at his house or wherever he was at the time, and then party all night, all weekend, whatever it was. Then all these stories started coming out. That's where he was having these freak offs, and that celebrities were somewhat involved. Which, listen, if they were, and unless you have actual proof, like, and I don't mean he said, she said, unless you have actual proof, like recordings, videotapes, pictures, because at that time, I mean, we're going back 25 years ago on a lot of these things. Um, it's just speculation, and you can't throw people into stuff like that unless you have honest proof of it. Um, the only celebrity that I do know, I haven't really been paying too much attention to it, that has come to the trial was Kid Cudi, the rapper. Because I guess he was dating um this woman Cassie who Diddy, I guess, had been dating at one point, and I guess was using to get sex workers to come to his parties. Apparently, Kid Cudi was seeing the woman at one point, and it made Diddy jealous to the point that he showed up at Kid Cudi's house and basically did this, put his car on fire. I think it was a Lamborghini or some expensive car. He put on fire, and I think there was reports that allegedly he had broke into Kid Cudi's house and was calling him from his house, saying that he was there. Hey, man, I don't know where Kid Cudi's from, and I don't know. I know Diddy's from New York or whatever, but I'm gonna be honest with you. If I got a call from some dude telling me that he was in my house waiting for me and he was gonna mess me up, fight or whatever, someone's getting shot. I'm gonna put it this way. I'm not gonna call the police. I'm gonna call some of my friends. I'm gonna say, look, I need you to come with me. We're gonna go to my house. We're gonna do some bad things and we're gonna hurt some people. But I can't tell you why, and I can't tell you what happens after that, and we can't talk about it after that. And my friends better go, just like from what is it, the town? They better go whose car we're taking, because we're gonna fuck somebody up if they do that, especially if they break in my house. Yeah, I'm not gonna show up and try to talk you down. I'm not gonna call the authorities. I'm going to fuck you up. So the fact that Kid Cudi, I think he just kind of showed up and maybe talked him down. I don't know, and then didn't, from everything that's out there, I guess did not report it or did not press charges or whatever. That's pretty wild. Honestly, the fact that that story didn't get out at the time, because I think that was what, 8 9 years ago that this happened, and the fact that that story never got out and nothing was said or broke on that is just wild, man. Yeah, I if Diddy broke into my house and did that, Diddy would be dead. And whoever was with them would be dead too. And I know that might sound bad or that might sound disingenuous or me just talking shit. No, that's the truth. Down the south here, everybody owns guns. Everybody has guns at their house. Everybody has guns on them, even if you don't think they do. They do. Um, and if somebody in here in Florida, you have the right to defend your home if somebody breaks into it, and you can use deadly force. It's probably good he did it in California because California laws are pretty weak. If he would have done that in Florida, Diddy probably wouldn't be alive. He'd probably be dead or shot. Um, so there's that. Now, these whole sex offs, as you can see here, Diddy asked Cassie, that woman, I'm pretty sure that's the woman that he was caught on video beating the crap out of in the hotel, that horrendous uh, crime that he committed. And again, nobody did anything at that time. If he had her permission to set up freak offs, and she told him she was ovulating. Harvey gets into the implications of his text exchange that day from the Diddy trial. So I guess he was trying to get her out there to be in one of these freak offs with a bunch of guys.
Another thing that I just found really, really interesting was there was one point where Diddy contacted Cassie by text and said, let's do a freak off. And her answer was, I'm ovulating. That's really interesting because I think, so you don't have to say the word no to make it clear. Another thing that I just found really
okay, so he's trying to say that she was trying to say that she didn't want to perform in it because she was ovulating. And I guess it's where Diddy forced her to take part in these freak offs. I'm not going to get into these conspiracies with certain people because conspiracies, and I know there's people out there going, hey man, conspiracies are only conspiracies until they're proven fact. Okay, so there's millions of conspiracies out there, and maybe 30 or 40 of them have been proven true. That's not a good percentage of all conspiracies being true. There's a bunch of conspiracies out there that are complete bullshit. It's like that telephone game where people just make something up. They go online nowadays, they put it out there, and people run with it. It's like that when the thing came up with the actor who played Carl Winslow, claiming that he was a part of these freak offs and was being, was sexually used by P. Diddy and some of the other guys. And people ran with it for a weekend, and it was fake. It was not real. But people believed it. There's still people out there that probably still do believe it because that's how dumb we've become as a society, that we just believe anything that is said and is put out there. Okay, and talking about his herpes outbreaks. Odie said he sued Diddy after he contracted her. Okay, so trying to say that herpes was involved. So here's the thing with these freak offs. Well, let's get into. So a lot of people are going back to things that were said 20, 25, 30 years ago when Diddy was just becoming super famous. Different interviews he gave. And I'll get into one that I remember him talking about at some point. But this is apparently him on a Conan O'Brien back in the day. It looks like maybe late 90s, early 2000s, just from the setup behind him. But let's listen in.
Okay. Now, we need alcohols.
Right.
Alcohols.
Right. Not just one alcohol.
Alcohols.
Right. Just
Plurals.
different blend. You need
Blends.
the ladies, you need the booze.
You need some water.
For watering plants?
No. No, I don't know if guys have noticed this. Like, a lot of ladies drink water at parties. They
Right.
just, so if you don't have what they need, they're going to leave.
Right.
Got to keep them there.
Right.
You need locks on the doors.
Okay, this is sounding kind of dangerous now.
It's a little kinky, but
Yeah.
rock with me. But just check it out. You need a lot of heat. A lot of heat. Yeah.
Heat. You mean that physically the place has to be hot?
You don't have no air conditioning.
No air conditioning.
No.
Why is that?
Heat affects the alcohol, and it also affects, like, everybody gets a little bit more comfortable and loose. Builds up a nice little sweat.
That just sounds disgusting. What are you talking about?
Depends on the way you look at it.
Depends. Oh, people start getting it gets kind of sexy. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you sexy.
I mean, so you could take that two ways. Um, One, that's just, I mean, how guys in their 20s and 30s think when they throw parties. I mean, you can ask any guy around at that age, you're thinking that same thing. There's nothing except for the locked door thing. That's kind of wild. Um, that yeah, that's like that raise the eyebrow thing. The other stuff, alcohol, water, the heat being on. I mean, that's tricks most guys know or use or think work when they throw parties. So there's nothing crazy about that. But I mean, you can see a little bit of what's going on behind the eyes with him. It's almost like now I know there's a longer interview on this, but it's almost like he knew not to go too far with it. It's like when he said the door lock thing, he kind of really changed the subject and didn't want to go to it, especially when Conan said that's getting a little weird. And he responds with kinky, and then he just kind of left it, and even Conan kind of left it alone. Yeah, that's the one where a red flag should pop up. The other stuff, as long as you're not saying, you need pills and all this other stuff with it, there's nothing too disingenuous with this interview. It's almost like when guys just try to talk out their ass and they don't even do half the stuff they're talking about. Now with him, he probably did do this stuff because he had the money and the power to handle this stuff. Um, but you kind of got to look at that both ways. Yeah, there is some weirdness and some creepiness behind some of the stuff he's saying, but then at the same time, some of that stuff is just what normal guys think of how to get girls to come to parties and how you get them to stay and how you get everybody in the mood to have a good time. As long as again, as long as there aren't drugs that are like forcing people to pass out or to do certain things or being taken advantage of. Yeah, I don't know, but so apparently, when it comes to these freak offs, um, yeah, now this whole thing with him being the Joker is fucking weird. Um, when it comes to the freak off, so allegedly it was at these parties he'd have sex workers over, and it was just there would be rooms where sex was happening, and it would be multiple people. Like I mean, basically orgies, if you want to put it that way, orgies, men, women, whatever. Um, a lot of these sex workers are claiming that it was against their will, that they were drugged. Um, at the beginning of this thing, there was some saying that celebrities took part, but so far in this trial, maybe because they haven't crossed that level yet, there hasn't been any talks of like celebrities being engaged in these actions. Don't know if it'll get that far. We'll see as this trial progresses. Um, but so they have these sex parties, and this is where again there's two sides to this. Okay, one, if you're not drugging people, if you're not forcing people, if you don't have if you're going without their consent, or if they have consent, excuse me. So if you're not drugging, if you're not forcing, if they have consent, if you have consent and whatever, it's just sex parties. It's just orgies, and morally you can not like that. Morally you can say that's not how society should be. That's not how I am. I object. I turn my nose up to it. Whatever. That's fine. But you have to understand, there's people out there that are into this kind of stuff, that are into swinging, that are into orgies, that are into multiple partners, that are into um, getting drunk and just having a good time because that's just what they want to do in their lives. Um, and let's be honest, people with money, especially celebrities, they have money, and the majority of them are good looking. You go to these parties, there might be some stuff like that going on. I mean, even though they make money and even though they're famous and even though they're attractive or whatever, they're still human beings and they have their own kinks and they have their own ways of things and they have their own likes and dislikes. So, I mean, morally, if you hate or you get turned off or you get offended that people were having, possibly celebrities and people like this were having, huge orgies, sex parties, and whatever. Again, if they were by consent, if there wasn't any like drugs knocking people out, if they weren't being forced to do these things, they were just doing it because that's what they enjoy to do. That's their experience. That's what they're there for. You can't hate on that. That's just life. I think a lot of people get upset by it because, like, oh my God, look at these celebrities. Well, let me tell you, if you were a celebrity, you had, let's just say you are a mid-tier movie star. You make good money, you're attractive, and you start getting invited to these parties. And you don't even know what these parties. They're just parties. They're coming. They just tell you, people tell you, hey, come over to my house. We're having a bunch of other people over, and you show up, and all these other famous actors and actresses are there. Good-looking people. Think about any celebrity that you like, that you're attracted to, whatever. Right now, male, female, whatever. They're at this party, and then all of a sudden, as night progresses, you start seeing people get a little loose, and you start seeing this one celebrity that you have a crush on, and they start taking some clothes off, or they come up to you and they're like, "Hey, why don't you come back to this room with me?" Da, 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 da. And you go back there, and there's other celebrities back there already banging and schmanging. Now, maybe morally, that's not your thing, and you don't want to be a part of it, and that's fine. But let's be honest, if you have two, if you've had a celebrity that you've been attracted to on a portion of your life or many years, and now you're famous and you're hobnobbing with them, and they're saying, "Hey, come back here, we're gonna hook up," and you go in the room and there's 10 other celebrities in there hooking up, I'm gonna say you're probably joining. And before you guys sit there and go, "Oh no, that's so bad," da, da, da. Listen, there's people in Mississippi and Alabama that are fat and ugly, and they're having these kind of parties. So, so let's be honest here. It's not just celebrities that do this stuff. People all around the country and all around the world do this thing. And if it's not your thing, that's fine. It's not your thing. It's just that's where you stand. So morally, you can't judge or be upset if that kind of thing was going on. Now, where you can be upset, where you can throw shade, is if like some of these the speculation rumors that come out is that he was drugging people, that he was getting people super drunk, that he was forcing individuals to perform sexual acts on him and other individuals, either threatening them or actually doing physical harm to them. That is a crime, and that is horrendous acts, and that is where you can judge, and that is where he should be charged. And that's where the line is different. If there's consent with it, and they're just doing these things, again, you might not be your moral stance. It might not be where you want to think about in life, but that's where some people are. But it's the drugging, the forcing, the threats, the physical um, fights and beats downs of people, extortion, I guess, on some level. That's where you got a problem. That's where you have an issue. Now, I remember one interview he gave, and I think this was maybe back in the late 90s. You're talking about like 99, 98, maybe 2000. I don't know. But he was talking to, I think, MTV or somebody. And he was dating somebody at the time. And again, they for whatever reason, they started talking about sex in this interview because obviously, I mean, this dude's got a sex problem. And he talked about that he was into tantric sex. And this interview's out there somewhere. I'm sure you can find it. And the interviewer asked, "Well, what do you mean?" And he said he had heard Sting, the singer, not the wrestler, the singer, had told him about this, that him and his wife do this tantric sex thing to where they have sex over a period of hours. It's not just, wham bam, thank you, ma'am, or a 20-minute session, whatever it is. They go for hours. And he talked to Diddy about it's about breathing, controlling yourself, and going for hours. And that piqued his interest, and he talked about that in his interview, that he's all about tantric sex and goes into it. That was, I think, one of those things again where this other side of him was coming out. And again, you can find that interview somewhere out there, maybe on YouTube or whatnot, where he's dating and tantric sex. It's out there. Go find it. Um, it'll be interesting to see how this trial goes on. Because without proof, you just have the he said, she said. Now, you do have the video footage of him beating, I believe it was Cassie, up in the hotel. he'll definitely get charged by that. He'll definitely get charged. Some of this other stuff is going to be hard to charge him on because it's just he said, she said. There's the proof of burden, the benefit of the doubt that's out there. Um, the Kid Cudi story is interesting, but that more comes on like a domestic issue than it does anything that has to do domestic and character issue. You could say, but it's not like it's a story where Kid Cudi was at a party and then he felt that he saw that they were dropping things in people's drinks and he went to leave and then Diddy showed up at his house because it's nothing like that. It's just it was a domestic and a character issue. That's why they brought it up in this trial. Um, it'll be interesting when they get into the more meat and potatoes of this stuff to find out if other people have proof, have stories that sound legit, and actually go into substance that could actually get him put away. But that'll be down the line. That'll probably come in the next few weeks. Um, it's kind of interesting that this trial's not on any streaming service or TV anywhere, and it's probably to protect the victims of this thing. I know some people are wondering because Depp's trial, Johnny Depp's was broadcast. That was a little different. This one gets into probably people that don't want their identity exposed. But as you know, things leak out, things get out. So we'll find more along the way. Um, yeah, I mean he's looking at an interesting life after this, whether it's um, spending years in prison or it's just being shunned and disavowed from the celebrity forum. But only time will tell. But give me your thoughts on what you think about this. Like and subscribe. I keep forgetting people to say that, but like and subscribe. But otherwise, hey man, find a good earth and dig it and get outside more and stay off social media. All right, later.